How do I deal with stubborn people who refuse to listen? Number 1. Refuse to be provoked. In Ephesians 4:25-27 it states, "Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we are all members of one body. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are angry, and do not give the devil a foothold." It can be very frustrating when someone you love, or a colleague, or a person superior to you refuses to listen to you. Sometimes they can even berate you for even trying. Their criticism of you and refusal to listen can provoke you to anger and resentment towards that person. It is imperative that you do not go down this road, even though it can be very hard to discipline yourself to do so. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't get angry. You can get angry, but don't let it fester and lead to something worse, where you yourself will end up doing wrong things just to be proven right. Number 2. State what you have to say. Carrying on with Ephesians 4, we must be able to speak truthfully to people. Though a person can refuse to listen, you can state what you have to say. That way, that person can never say that you never warned them or told them the consequences of their actions. It is always good to be articulate, clearly stating what you have to say with the right intention and tone. Once you have done your part, the other person can make a decision. Stubborn people who refuse to listen may be so dead set in their ways that they do not even acknowledge what you have said. But in the end, they have heard it, and they chose not to listen to it. So you are not responsible for the decisions that they make. You are not responsible for the actions of other people, especially those who don't listen. Number 3. Be respectful always. In Matthew 5, Jesus tells us, "You have heard that it was said, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Don't even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect." This can be hard to do, especially when their refusal to listen to you is essentially disrespect. You tell them what to do, but they don't listen, and they do what they want anyways. You can be tempted to employ a tit-for-tat strategy. However, that will not get you anywhere in the long run. It is better to continue to take the high road as Jesus would, and continue to be respectful to them, without them walking all over you. If they walk all over you, you should not be a Christian doormat, but stand up for yourself in a respectful manner. Number 4. Leave them in God's hands. This is the best thing you can do. When someone refuses to listen to you, don't get involved. Just leave them in God's hands. God knows why they refuse to listen. He knows where that stubbornness comes from, be it genetic, behavioral, or acquired from a traumatic childhood experience. God can touch people and change them for the better. You are not Jesus, and you are not God. So stop trying to play God in other people's lives and try to make them change. Only God can truly change a person. So pray for them. This is why earlier in Matthew 5, Jesus says we should pray for them. His power can change, so we should leave the stubborn people to God and carry on with our own lives. Remember, the effectual, fervent prayer of the righteous avails much. So pray for them and leave it in God's hands. Say what you need to say and leave it at that. You will have a much more peaceful life by doing so. Let us continue to walk in the light as He is in the light.